John McClain joins us, Hall of Fame columnist. John, is CJ Stroud okay?
Nope, he's got a concussion, and they're not announcing it, but I don't expect him to play at Tennessee. I think it'll be Davis Mills, who's in his third season. I wrote a column today on sportsradio610.com that not many teams can say they have two backup quarterbacks, Davis Mills and Case Keenum, multi-year starters, one who's responsible for CJ Stroud being here, and the other is authored a miracle. And that would have been Keenum, the Minnesota Miracle in 2017 playoffs. And last year, Davis Mills, last game, Indianapolis. Everybody wanted the Texans to lose so they could have the first pick and get Bryce Young. And what happened? Davis Mills throws a touchdown pass, then a 2-point conversion. They win. They blow the Bryce Young pick and get stuck with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's funny how those things work out, John. The AFC playoff picture could get wild, especially with these injuries that the Dolphins have. Even without CJ Stroud for however long they're without him, do you feel good about the Texans' continued ascendancy?
No, I don't, because one reason, they lost Tank Dell, their great rookie receiver, 2 weeks ago. They lost Nico Collins, their leading receiver, on the third game against the Jets. Dalton Schultz, who had been playing great, has missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury. So they are hurting at receiver. And Stroud was able to make a lot of receivers look good, and I don't think Davis Mills can do that. Texans can't run the ball. You know, the 4 of us could run the ball as well as the Texans are. They're terrible. They just went up against the worst run defense in the NFL, Denver. They beat them, but they couldn't run. Then they went up against the 28th worst defense in the Jets, couldn't run. And all of a sudden their safeties can't cover. Jalen Petrie, the quarterback rating throwing at Jalen is 149.7, by far the highest on the team. So the safeties are struggling in coverage. So it wouldn't surprise me if they lose to the Titans after what the Titans did to Miami Monday night, coming from 14 down in the last 3 minutes. Hadn't been done in this century. And so it's a great race, Paul, because there's a logjam. The 3 best teams are in the NFC: San Francisco, Dallas, and Philadelphia. Philadelphia's schedule has been the toughest in the league. Dallas is about to get real tough. It's already started with Philly, and the Eagles gets easier. But I never thought the Eagles were going to the Super Bowl, because other than the Patriots one year, Super Bowl loser, hadn't been back to the Super Bowl since 1990 for whatever reason. And in the AFC, Baltimore has the best record. Looks like Miami's a paper tiger. The Chiefs, all they can do now is whine about the officials. So the AFC is weak. The NFC is superior, and if the Cowboys could play every game at home, they might actually go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, John, I was going to say, how about them Cowboys? I mean, what a win that was the other night against Philadelphia, winning by 3 touchdowns. I mean, they seem to just have it all kind of in step and locked in all the right ways and right places.
And right now, the leading contender for MVP would be Dak Prescott, and I'm not sure if there's any quarterback playing better than Prescott is. And there's a lot of them playing well. A lot of them are injured. But the 49ers, you know, they are the best team. I mean, they pounded the Cowboys. They pounded the Eagles, pounded Jacksonville in Jacksonville. But right now, nobody is playing better than Dak. And he's been on a roll. And I'm happy for Mike McCarthy. I like Mike. I think he's a really good guy. I don't know him personally, but I've covered him for a long time. And I think that, if they keep this up, say they win out, he could be coach of the year even. They got to do better than 12, which they've done the last 2 years. A lot of narration is that Brock Purdy's going to be the MVP, and he's playing great too. But right between those two, for highest rated quarterback, Tommy DeVito.
Paul, get your Italian blood going.
Tommy Cutlets says, look, as a fellow Italian, I support, like I keep saying, the celebration of Italian-American culture that appears to be every single Tommy DeVito start, especially the ones in the Meadowlands, John. He's not, like, statistically ripping it up, but they're winning with him, and Brian Daboll is a really good coach. Do you think that this maybe spells a little doom for the future of Daniel Jones with the Giants?
The Giants are 5-8. They've won 3 in a row with DeVito. Just ran for 70 yards. It's magical. He makes, I think, $475,000. Daniel Jones makes $47 million, and so they're gonna. I can't imagine that they would say Tommy DeVito is our starting quarterback next season over Daniel Jones. But boy, if the two of them are in competition, and every time Jones throws an interception, the fans are going to be chanting, Tommy, Tommy. And then they're going to be chanting for his agent, Sean Stellato, who looks like he's out of the Godfather and The Sopranos. What a great story going on in New York. And it overshadowed the Jets. Zach Wilson, the most maligned quarterback in the NFL. The Texans and Jets are 0-0 at the half, terrible rain. And then they score 30. Wilson throws for 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked like the second overall pick. Texans were awful on offense and defense, but nobody's talking about Zach Wilson in the New York, New Jersey area. It's all about Tommy DeVito and Sean Stellato.
All right, I got to ask you about the Chiefs game against Buffalo. The Bills desperately needed a win. They've had some heartbreakers. They get one back. The offsides on Kadarius Toney, what would have been an amazing play on the same day as Frank Wycheck, who passed away. But your thoughts about Mahomes and Andy Reid? I know they've come back a little bit on that, being outwardly angry. And it's not like the Chiefs have not had a few of the breaks, and it always kind of evens out along the way.
That's exactly right, David. Teams complain all the time that the Chiefs get breaks. And the fact is, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes embarrassed themselves after the game. And I think when they went back and watched how far Kadarius Toney was across the line of scrimmage, brain dead, the dumbest penalty in the NFL is when you line up offsides or in the neutral zone. All you've got to do is look at the ball. And I think it was frustration with their receivers leading NFL drop passes, maybe brain dead plays. Tony's had enough of those since he came in the NFL. And the next day, Mahomes apologized, but it seemed like it was more about what he said to Josh Allen when he complained about it while Allen was trying to, celebrate the victory. But the Chiefs, they're discombobulated right now, as are almost every team in the AFC. It's a much better playoff race than the NFC. The NFC, clearly we know who the best teams are, and the two best are San Francisco and Dallas. They could be headed to another playoff game. What a game that will be if they get that far.
John, do you think Bill Belichick is going to get fired at the end of this year?
I think what it would be, Paul, is they call it mutual parting of the ways. And then I could see a team like, say, Mark Davis and the Raiders giving him total control because they need a coach and a GM. Belichick, if he coaches, he's got to have total control. He's got to have some time to get his people in there. No way he's going to work for David Tepper at Carolina, who gets involved in everything. Most coaches would like to go to the Chargers because they got so much talent, including the franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, who's out for the season. So I think he'll have options, but it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't end up with the Raiders.
John, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, guys. Second Bears.
John McClain, Sports Radio 610 Hall of Fame columnist, with us most every Tuesdays around 5:30. And by the way, tonight,